Hello and welcome to episode, 15 of Dad at Play. I am going to be talking about a number of things. Clustertruck, Big Hero 6, Guild of Dungeoneering, more than that. I want to say thank you for taking the time to check out my series. And if you could click on that old subscribe button, that would be great. Anyway, let's jump on into it. So I've been playing Clustertruck for a while now, and frankly, I suck at it. The premise is that you're on a top of a semi-truck at the back end of what is essentially a sort of convoy of bad drivers. The goal is to cross the finish line, so you should be able to just stay on top of the semi-truck that you're on top of at the beginning of the level, right? Well, no, because the blinders are like blind, I guess. So they crash into each other, run off the road, they don't avoid the obstacles, etc. So players need to use the WASD keys to move from truck to truck, jumping with the spacebar. Each level, of course, gets increasingly complex with various twists and turns of the road, being only the beginning, really. There are a number of different types of obstacles that will interfere directly with you and the trucks as you attempt to get from truck to truck, moving forward side to side, to ultimately cross the finish line. Some of those obstacles, just like come out of nowhere, it seems, and just smash the truck off the road. And if you're on top of that truck, guess what? You have to stay on top of the truck. You cannot land on the ground, otherwise you fail. But just because I suck at this game doesn't mean it isn't good or fun. For $15, this will certainly give you your money's worth, and I recommend Clustertruck. 2010's Alice in Wonderland. The screenwriter, Linda Wolverton, returns, penning the script here. And that actually is where I have my biggest issue. Alice Through the Looking Glass takes a full, third of the movie for the plot to really kick in and pick up any steam. We get a story that revolves around time, literally, who is both a character and force of nature here. The Mad Hatter needs Alice's help. This is all well and good, but I'm disappointed we get explanations and actual origins for many of these characters, rather than simply letting them be or introducing new wonders for Alice to discover. Alice Through the Looking Glass isn't bad. It just doesn't quite match up to the original. Or its predecessor, I guess, would be the correct term. The Blu-ray does come with a decent audio commentary, which should be checked out, and a few other, ordinary special features. If you liked Alice in Wonderland, this is not a bad sequel. It's just not as good. So, I recommend it with a caveat. Big Hero 6 was a bit of a surprise hit, at least as far as I was concerned, coming from a relatively little-known, group of B-list comic heroes for the most part. The film looked like it would be successful, but the film's success seems to have exceeded expectations, I guess. So Disney didn't have plans for a follow-up immediately after the film came out. So it's taken a while, but there is a television series that is in production now. It's going to arrive, almost 3 years after the film came out. Looks like the first episode will pick up very shortly after the film's finale. The voice cast, we've just learned, some of the voice cast from the film are returning to reprise their roles in the television series. So this isn't just, a series based on the movie, kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy isn't an official follow-up. The Big Hero 6 television series on, I think it's Disney XD, this is going to be an unofficial follow-up to the movie. So returning are Ryan Potter as Hero, Scott Adsit as Baymax, Genesis Rodriguez as Honey Lemon, Jamie Chung as Go-Go, Alan Tudyk as Alistair Cree, Maya Rudolph as Aunt Cass, and Stan Lee as Dad. So we do have some replacement voice actors. Brooks Whelan takes over for TJ Miller as Fred, and Carrie Payton takes on Wasabi for Damon Wayans Jr. Again, look for the Big Hero 6 television series to appear on Disney XD sometime next year. Okay, so do you remember the PS2 game Destroy All Humans? You played as an alien attempting to invade Earth, essentially to, I think it was steal our DNA to help clone and create more of his race. It was set in the 50s, and it was the first there's a few games in this franchise. And now it's come back in a remastered version for the PlayStation 4 and available for $19.99. Well worth picking up. It was the original, and I think there was 3 sequels. It might not have been as good as they went through time, but the first one especially was fun to play with. It had a lot of humor, and it plays up those 50s sci-fi films quite a bit. So if you got a PS4, definitely look into picking up Destroy All Humans. There's been a lot of talk lately about the Nintendo NES Classic Edition. For, I think it's $60, you can have a box that is designed to replicate the Nintendo Entertainment System, only smaller. It comes packed in with 30 classic titles. Now, I have some thoughts on this, and they aren't nice. You see, there's already a cottage industry for various wired and wireless controllers for this specific device, cable extenders, the list of games: The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Brothers, numbers 2 and 3, and Galaga, Donkey Kong, Pac-Man. How many of these games do we already have? Personally, I absolutely hate the original NES controllers. Why would I want to play with them again? Okay, so some of the third-party aftermarket ones are better, but only marginally, and then you have to spend money to get those. And I think that my recommendation is to skip the Nintendo NES Classic Edition, or the My Arcade or whatever this is. Chances are you already have most of these games that you want anyway. That's, I wrote a review of Guild of Dungeoneering on my blog a while ago. Haven't had much time to play it lately. If you're not familiar with Guild of Dungeoneering, essentially you play as the head of a guild, recruit different adventurers, assign them to do different tasks, plundering different dungeons, to gather resources to expand the guild and its fame, to recruit even more members and grow and expand the guild. It's a pretty fun game. Ice Cream Headaches is the second expansion for the game, with a new cold-themed region, and of course a bunch of new monsters, quests, loot, and more. The expansion will set you back $5 and is available now on Steam, the iTunes App Store, and Google Play. Guild of Dungeoneering is well worth checking out. Munchkin Wonderland, a game that I told you about a few episodes ago, is now available. This is a Munchkin board game specifically geared towards younger players. The level of reading required is low. Basic math facts are reinforced, and there's a level of competitiveness that isn't as vicious as it can get with the regular Munchkin card game. We have the very similar Munchkin Treasure Hunt in the house, but Munchkin Wonderland is basically based on Treasure Hunt.
Yeah, and it was my 9-year-old's favorite game for a very long time. But this one, instead of fighting the Munchkin monsters, you're fighting Wonderland monsters. Mark, you've got help from the Dormouse, the March Hare, going up against the Queen of Hearts, the Jabberwock. So anyway, definitely worth checking out and looking at picking this one up myself. Let's see, newly launched is Eisenwald's Blood of November, a quote sandbox strategy unquote game set in the medieval world of, wait for it, Eisenwald. Players will battle to determine who will take the mantle of the Duke of Eisenwald. There are 2 leaders vying for the role, and only one can reign supreme. I would love to review this game, but I do not have the time to sink into it, and I kind of suck at strategy games, depending on how much time I can devote to them. I just don't have any time right now to devote to something like this. But this definitely looks cool. If you have any sort of a penchant for, strategy, open world, title, anything like this, definitely check this one out.
Finally, a relatively new product on the market is the Galaxy Zega. It's a hybrid of the virtual with a phone and tablet app with the real, sort of a tank, I guess, that players can race and combat with. You can purchase a pack that includes just the vehicles or one that includes a course that can be adjusted to your liking. Now, this can be a bit pricey with a starter kit running about $149, $150. That includes 2 vehicles and a battlefield area. It seems like you'll be able to get a lot of life from this, however. Players connect the vehicles via Bluetooth to their device, which acts as a remote control. The battlefield play area can also be equipped with ramps and special squares that can contain power-ups. There's 4 different Zegas with different sets of skills and a combination of attack, defense, and speed. And then you can add on the battlefield chunks and sections and create a really massive one with, and if you use ramps, you can, a whole bunch of different layers and using these power-up squares and really make something quite intricate, or not at all. You can just, use the floor of your house, I guess. I have not gotten my hands on this, but it definitely looks interesting.
Well, that is going to do it for episode 15 of Dad at Play. Thanks again for taking the time, and if you would, hit that old subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. I will talk to you soon.